Good morning, San Francisco. Welcome to Free Talk SF. I am your host, Steven Zeiler. Visit us at freetalksf.com. Today is a beautiful and rainy day in San Francisco where we are talking about freedom for everyone in San Francisco, just like every day. Freedom in San Francisco. We're all about freedom, empathy, and independence for all people of San Francisco. So we got this first time I actually gathered a bunch of news and links that I wanted to talk about today. So some local items and then worldwide things that are affecting everyone, especially anyone on the internet. So let's get started. First thing, you might have heard about there was a shooting on Pier 14 this last weekend of a random shooting of a woman. And then when a local investigative team went down, this is a journalist, I think from a local TV station, they went down to the pier to investigate the murder, and they were mugged at gunpoint. And a lot of people were panicking about this. And I posted on the social media saying that people should have private security guards, private firms. And some people replied back, well, you can already get that. It's called Glock. It's called Smith & Wesson. So go get yourself a handgun. Now, for all of you in San Francisco, you're probably thinking, aren't firearms illegal in San Francisco? And the answer is no, firearms are not illegal in San Francisco. In fact, just last year, the Supreme Court of the United States, for what that's worth, which, well, in essence is about zero, but if you follow that kind of thing, and the Supreme Court of the United States did rule that people in San Francisco they still have their Second Amendment right, according to the Bill of Rights, to carry, which means, or to own firearms, which means the police will probably respect that law. But laws aside, if you really want to be protected, get a firearm, whether it's legal or not. And in addition to that, make sure that you are trained in firearm safety and actually the ability to handle a high-stress situation with a firearm. And to that end, I was looking into how to order things like Glocks on the internet. And in California, you have to pass the Firearm Safety Certificate training program, which is a short multiple choice test, and I'll link to the study guide here. And it's actually a pretty good study guide. It includes firearm laws in California, firearm ownership, operation and safe handling, how to manage your firearms around children, and this is all provided by the California government website. So it sounds like they want firearms in the hands of peaceful people. And I'm going to take them up on that offer. I'm going to get this certification, because that way I can order firearms to the nearest federal firearms dealer, FFL dealer, which unfortunately you have to get firearms from a licensed dealer if you want to ship them on the internet. And I'm not sure there are any gun shows out here in San Francisco, or even in any of California. So, yeah, there's a federal firearms dealer down in South San Francisco, Jackson Arms, which is a great shooting range. They will administer the test. So I'm going to sign up for the test sometime this week or next week, and I'm going to go down there, take the test. Once I do, I am going to get myself a Glock. I did not bring any firearms out to San Francisco. So I believe the law in San Francisco, though, says that you must have a firearm lock on your trigger, a trigger lock. So keep that in mind. You need to buy a trigger lock if you want to be compliant with the San Francisco rules. If you want to protect yourself, well, get the firearm, get the training, and be aware of your surroundings. So I hope to see a future San Francisco with lots of guns. And not that we should be parading guns around, because people here are so secure in, they feel very safe. This really is a pretty safe place, unless you kind of go wandering around aimlessly without any discretion or anything. But for the most part, there's neighborhoods all the way up here. It's a pretty safe place, but I think everyone, especially parents, they will want firearms, and who knows, well, let's just say that there's a large portion of our population that is living off EBT, electronic bank transfer, from the federal government and the state government, and we know how broke the state of California is, so we'll see what happens when those EBT payments stop going out, or when the price of the dollar is so low that they can barely buy anything anyway. Okay, so we had that mugging and the murder and the increased need for firearms in San Francisco. Now, a lot of people in San Francisco are also software people, software engineers, software companies, and a big part about freedom in software is open source. Open source licenses allow us to create software that is unencumbered by any type of government controls. I'm a huge fan of open source. I have all kinds of open source code that I've published on my GitHub. And really the entire new economy, I mean, most of the entire software economy here in San Francisco is being powered by open source software, open source databases, Linux, open source operating systems, all kinds of modules and packages and applications that are all free and open source, unencumbered by state licenses. But you always have to put a license, and everyone always wants you to put a license in your software. Just even they might say to make sure that it's unambiguous that this is open and free software. But some friends of mine in New Hampshire have come up with what I think is the best license ever, the best license. It's called the BIPCOT No Government License. Here it is. This product and or service licensed by BIPCOT No Gov, use and reuse by anyone except governments and their agents is okay. So this license is awesome. It works for software. It works for products. If we want to take a look at a software example, I'm going to start adding this license to all of my open source software, just to be sure that anyone is free to use the software except for government agents who claim the use of force as a legitimate mechanism to interact with other people in society, which we all know the use of force and coercion is not a legitimate mechanism for interacting with people in a free society, and it should be opposed. And the BIPCOT license does exactly that. Now, all parts of the license are enforced strictly through SHAME. SHAME, a great tool of libertarians and of voluntarists who unfortunately or fortunately don't have access to raw coercion, guns, etc., and don't have prisons where they're going to throw their enemies in jail. I meant market competitors. So here's the license. BIPCOT No Gov Software License version 1, no warranty of usability of XRP AppLib software. That's the software that I put this license in first. This original computer code and resulting program was made by license holder Steven Zeiler, 2015. All rights to make fun of you reserved. So it's important to have a good sense of humor. Even better than blocking the state is having fun blocking the state, right? You know, it's no good unless you're dancing or laughing. So let's have more fun. That's why I really love this BIP-COT license. I'll continue. Redistribution and use in source and binary forms with or without modification are permitted provided the following conditions are met. Redistributions of source code must retain the entire license. This is common. Redistributions in binary must reproduce the entirety of the license. Etc., etc. Governments and agents and subcontractors of same are not permitted to use this software or derivations of this software. If governments, agents, and subcontractors of same use this software or derivations of this software, all agencies and persons directly knowingly involved may be shamed in public by name on the internet, on radio, and in any media now extant or invented in the future, throughout the known universe and elsewhere in perpetuity. Governments, agents, and subcontractors of same that use this software or derivations of this software agree to endure this shaming without comment or action. Yes. All right. Any person or entity that violates any part of this agreement will also be shamed as above and agrees to endure this shaming without comment or action. The BIP-COT NoGov software license adapts the first three clauses of the three-clause BSD and adapts the BSD as is text at the end. The three-clause BSD license is in the public domain. However, there is no partnership or endorsement created or implied by the creators and users of the BIP-COT NoGov license and its creators or users of the BSD license or vice versa. And then it goes on, this software is provided by license holder and contributions as is, no warranties, etc., etc. General Berkeley BSD license. Excellent, wonderful, that is fun. I'm going to get that in all of my projects, and I hope you do too. So check that out. That's bipcot.org, bipcot.org. There you can print your no government driver's license, and you can print a license for pretty much anything. So if you want your stuff to be free, but you want the government out of it, go to bipcot.org. Get your BipCOT license. All right. Well, we'll be right back after this short break. Stay tuned for more freedom in San Francisco. Welcome back to Free Talk SF. This is Steven Zeiler. Today is Monday, July 6th, 2015. Hope you had an extremely independent weekend. I know that I had a fantastic weekend over the break. Had Friday. Friday was a federal holiday, though I don't generally celebrate federal holidays, so I did some projects at home. Got some really good coding done. But all right, yeah. So I hope you were extremely free and independent. I took a big step over the weekend to establish my own independence here in San Francisco. As I think I've told you before, I'm starting a hydroponic farm here in my apartment, and my goal is to grow enough spinach and sprouts, which is just greens. I want to grow them hydroponically here in my house to feed myself all day, every day. Now, I usually eat spinach about 3 times a day, and I eat sprouts. I've been getting sprouts more often, trying to eat them about 3 times a day also. So a buddy of mine who is a cultivation specialist and has a lot of experience using hydroponics and aeroponics, he is helping me set up a system here in my room. And for me, growing your own food has always been this tantalizingly awesome way to be independent. Like one of the most real, down-to-earth, effective ways of being an independent human is not relying on the supply chain, which is now a globalized supply chain for your basic food and especially the nutrients like that you get out of spinach. Spinach is basically my favorite food these days. It's just so good. So many vitamins, protein, fiber, Spinach is great. So I want to grow it all myself. And I want to empower other people in San Francisco, especially people who don't have access to greens, to be able to set the same thing up. So we got a great design together. Got all the parts, everything you need. You can order on Amazon, and it's going to be a multi-tier hydroponic setup here in the room. And I'm going to be growing my food. And once that gets going, I'm going to expand the effort to help other people grow their own food too. I would love to see an entire culture in San Francisco of independent food growers and eaters. And that does mean, and usually this type of local organic food is a lot more expensive to produce, and you have to get people who actually care about local organic food, and they want to support local independent farmers, and get them to pay a little bit extra in the market for that food. And of course, all solutions for a free society have to be based on the free market and free trade and voluntary interaction. So getting people to support better food, higher quality food, local independent food, is just a matter of the market and changing people's cultural behavior. So how are we going to do that here is the question. And my roommate brought up, he brought up on a tangent, but the idea of creating an index of freedoms, and of like which rights do you have? Not saying that rights really exist. And then I took that idea and wanted to apply the Freedom Index or the Independence Index to businesses in San Francisco. So I've talked before about a network of businesses, of freedom-loving, liberty-loving businesses, and I think we can come up with a good set of criteria on which businesses can be ranked for their support for liberty, support for individuals, their support for human rights, their support for independence of San Francisco. So we can call it, I think I'm going to call this the Independence Index. The Independence Index for businesses. So the Independent Business Index. And we can use this and this kind of thing to bring awareness to other people, to consumers, about the best options for food and products around. A big part of this index is going to be, do they accept independent money? Do they accept Bitcoin, gold and silver, Ripple maybe even? Do they buy their food locally? Do they source their energy locally, or is their energy produced by small energy producers such as wind farms or solar, rather than by the government monopolized power plants? And so once I get this farm set up in my house and I'm producing enough food for myself, I'm going to expand the operation to other people in town. Now, an immediate concern, first of all, I established the SF Urban Food Corporation, a California corporation, and the SF Urban Food Corporation will be growing food locally and selling it in the market. And I know there are a lot of government restrictions on selling food, so I really want to drive right into that and grow food. I'm going to grow the best food and sell it, and then see how the state deals with that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. They're going to argue that I can't sell food as an unlicensed person. So I'm going to try to get other people to grow in their house too, and maybe build a all-in-one solution or maybe something like Solar City, but for greens, for growing locally, and just establish a market for locally grown produce. And that market's going to take probably years to develop, but I can see maybe 20 years in the future where the entire city is eating only spinach grown here in San Francisco. Hopefully all powered by wind turbines on top of our houses. But yeah, one step at a time. So SF Urban Food Corporation. A lot of the other urban food growing hydroponic type installations I've seen on the internet, they're all like cooperatives or non-profits. And I can't tell if this is because these organizations are generally communist or what their deal is, or maybe they're just afraid of the government regulators. But if we don't have a right to just grow food and sell it or give it to our neighbors, and we got some work to do here in society then. So I'm going to challenge that just right in their face. See what happens. Can always respond. The key, though, is decentralized food production. Decentralized food production will be the most robust if and when the supply chain to the rest of the globe or the rest of the state becomes interrupted, or perhaps the currency loses so much value that it's just very difficult to procure vegetables and vitamins, natural vitamins. That's when we're really going to need to have been producing our own food. So I'm getting ready, and I think this skill, producing my own food and having independent food, is going to translate no matter where I go. The parts are all commoditized parts, nothing really special, some pumps and pipes and tubs, and of course plants, seeds. So stay tuned for that, SF Urban Food Corporation. And if you want to support this show and that operation, please go to freetalksf.com/donate. We accept Bitcoin. Speaking about Bitcoin, if you have heard of Mega or Mega Upload, created by Kim Dotcom, these are huge global services on the internet for storing your files encrypted, basically in the cloud. And so a huge part of maintaining freedom, and especially freedom on the internet, is encrypting all of your information so that not only governments, states, but also corporations and other types of criminals can't access your information, and they can't access your data. Now, privacy is a fundamental human right, and we're going to protect that privacy and that right with encryption no matter what. So please encrypt more. But Mega and Mega Upload were an encrypted upload service, and the federal government here in the United States and in other places around the world really hated Mega, because Mega allowed people to control their own data and store it without the ability of just hacking into it and taking whatever they want without any warrants or anything. And so Kim Dotcom was harassed. His bank accounts were frozen. His assets were seized under civil asset forfeiture. He never even went to court. The feds just, out of law, seized his operation and shut it down. Now, all of this was totally outside of law, so when he came with a lawsuit, he won. So they're still operating, but his big news now is Kim Dotcom is leading a new revolution in the internet. He's crowdfunding a replacement to the internet itself. Now, the internet is a government-created network of computers that was mainly used for government universities and state sponsored military and terrorist-like activities. And the internet is, quote, this public place. But as libertarians, we know that there's really no such thing as a public good. And in a voluntary society, everything is owned. But what Kim Dotcom wants to build, what he's building, is a new internet that is completely based on cryptocurrency. The key is that it's default, all encrypted, and all payment for everything is done with cryptocurrency. This is called the Meganet, what he's calling the Meganet, and it's a new internet. We should all really pay attention to this. And traditional currencies, traditional banking money is not accepted on the Meganet. I love this. I love people not accepting Federal Reserve crap and going straight to the good stuff, straight to the crypto that can't be controlled by states or corporations or that don't require banks, can't be frozen. And so Meganet seems extremely promising. And as an internet technologist here in San Francisco, it's really exciting. And it inspires me to run a business where I don't accept Federal Reserve paper garbage either. Then I was thinking, I'm gonna price everything in terms of dollars. I'm gonna say this cost $1. If you want to pay in silver, that's, well, whatever silver 1 ounce. That's not $1. All right, let's say then if you want to pay in Federal Reserve notes, you have to pay $2, 2 Federal Reserve notes for every dollar on the price, something like that. So that, if you're paying with Bitcoin, you're paying with silver 1-to-1. You're paying with Federal Reserve notes 2-to-1. Though I don't even know if I want to accept it at all. I think if it's probably best really to establish now the habit of not accepting Federal Reserve fiat currency warfare garbage and just go with that and make that my target market. I guess we don't really need to accept that paper nonsense any longer. And the history of fiat currency is not good. If you haven't studied it, every fiat currency ever goes the way of Zimbabwe or Weimar Germany. So I think not accepting those bills is a great idea. Meganet is really onto something. For me personally, this has really affected me. I have a lot of projects in the Ripple ecosystem, a lot of which deal with or previously offered support for traditional government state fiat nightmare currencies like the euro or the yen or the dollar. And I'm just going to go ahead and not build software that supports those currencies anymore. I took down a couple of my websites that were offering products that were related with fiat currency, so no more for me. I'm going to go all in Bitcoin, Ripple coin, Dogecoin, Litecoin, whatever's next, Dark coin. I'm going to make sure and focus on all of this, plus silver, plus gold. Those are the free money that we need. So thank you, Meganet, for giving me the confidence. Thank you, Kim Dotcom, for giving me the idea to only support the independent money. Yeah, gotta put my money where my mouth is for sure on that one. So if you are into that too, please let me know. Send me a message. Showtips@freetalksf.com. And I would love to hear how you are cutting out the Federal Reserve note in your business here in San Francisco. And of course, we'll add that to the Independence Index for San Francisco businesses. Do you accept Bitcoin? Double points if you don't accept Federal Reserve notes. All right. Well, it's just about time for me to start doing some software hacking, working on my distributed validator project for Ripple Labs. That means I will leave you, but remember, all day today and until tomorrow, remember to dance. Dance like no one is watching. Unless you really draw energy from people watching, and then just dance. Also encrypt like everyone's watching, because they are watching. Encrypt like everyone's watching. GPG, please. Something I need to do better about. And be independent. Be free. Don't ask permission. Do what is in accordance with your fundamental rights as a human being. And make choices for yourself. Do what you love. Engage with your neighbors. Empathize with everyone. Do some yoga. Until next time, this is Free Talk SF. freetalksf.com/donate if you'd like to support the show. My name is Steven Zeiler. I'm your host. Thank you for tuning in.